Hi, I'm sick and all I want to do is read, yet nothing sounds very appealing to me. So I decided to put the faith of what I'm gonna read in the hands of my beautiful wheel of TBR. I apologize for the shitty lighting, but it's like pretty late already and the sun's going out. And I came up with this idea because I really want to read. That's all I want to do. So you're gonna have to stick with me for a minute. But if you don't know, this trusty wheel is my wheel of TBR. There's every single book on my physical TBR on it. It did get a little revamp since you last saw it because it's been a while. I made it rainbow colored because I think that's more fun. And then I did change it so that it has title and author on it instead of just the title, because some book titles sound too similar and it would get confusing for me. So I put it all on here. Currently there's 100 bucks on this wheel, which honestly my physical TBR hasn't gotten that large in a while. Like I'm typically hovering in between like 90 and 100, but like the fact that it actually has hit 100, it's sort of concerning for me. So I thought this was a good way to get books of my physical TBR. Also, I haven't been doing a great job at that this year. I feel like I have been doing a great job at reading the books I buy, but not necessarily reading books that have been on my TBR for a little longer. So I feel like this is gonna be good practice. So there we go. I do have two rules though. One is because this has every book that I physically own on here that I haven't read yet. There are sequels to this on here to books that I haven't read yet. So if you land on one of those, I'll just read the book I'm up to in that series rather than the book that actually comes on the wheel, obviously. And then two, if I have a specific video in mind for the book, I also will respin because I want to keep that book for the video. I am required to tell you about that video, so to hold myself accountable to actually make it and not just put things off. So there you go. But those are the rules. So all there's left to do now is to just spin and see what I'm gonna read, and hopefully it's a good book. Okay, I can live with this. I can! Grote mensen die ik kende toen ik klein was bij Wouter de Pre. I do have to get this. I don't know where it is. So, this is a non-fiction book written by Wouter de Pre, who is a Flemish comedian. And it's about big people he knew when he was little. So people in his town. I know he did like an exhibition surrounding this as well around the same time this book was published. I also got this sign at one of his comedy shows. Actually, fun fact, I'm going again. He has a new comedy tour, and I am going to that. I believe, I don't remember if it's like the end of this year or the beginning of next year. I don't remember the exact date. Really stopping nearby. So it's a shame that I truly have not read this yet, but it's relatively short. It is 141 pages and also has like images of it, of like the art pieces he had in his exhibition as well. So I am very excited to read this. Plus, my goal this year was to read non-fiction. I've been doing very bad at that. Like I at the start of the year read a couple of non-fictions and I haven't read anything since. So I feel like this is a good shout. And then also because I'm sick and my brain isn't fully functioning, I feel like this is like non-fiction wise something more of an easy read. So I'm actually very excited about this. So let's give it a read and see what I think of it. Hi, so it is only a little while later. I did close the curtains and turn on the overhead light because it was getting too dark. I know, but I did finish this book already, and I decided to give it 4 stars. But I find this so hard to review because this was a very quick read and a very delightful read, and I would highly recommend it. But to describe the full feeling of this is so difficult in my opinion. Like, it's funny obviously because it's written by a comedian, but it also is so full of heart and so full of nostalgia in a way, and just the way he managed to capture kind of the way you view people in your life as a kid, while also obviously being written from like a reflective lens as an adult. I don't know, I just thought it was really well done. And I don't know, I'm really glad I read this because it's been on my TBR for quite some time now, and if it wasn't for this wheel I definitely wouldn't have picked this up right now. But I feel like it was exactly what I needed in this moment in time. Like, I don't know, it wasn't too taxing on my brain. It was a very, like I said, delightful read. I don't know how else to describe it. It was full of feeling, and yeah, I really liked it. So like I said, it's a 4 star. My iPad refused to stand up here. I don't know what it was all of a sudden. It just kept sliding down. I couldn't get it up. So I'm so sorry. But now there's 99 bucks on the wheel, one less. And honestly, this was a success. So now I'm kind of hopeful more so rather than scared to see what this is gonna bring. Let's give it a spin. I do this say once I click it, I feel the nerves coming in again. So great, honestly, yeah, great choice. It's redeemed by Lauren Asher, which is one of the books in the Dirty Air series, which I own that entire series. I've only read book 1, but so book 2 in the series Collided is one of my top of TBR books, and I've been making shit progress with that list. I have only read one book out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of 12 books, I've only read one so far this year, and it's July. So that's not very great. So I am very happy that this was picked. On top of that, it's 396 pages, so it is a bit of a longer one, but it is a romance book. So I feel like this is gonna be a breezy read, just like book 1 was. I wasn't a fan of book 1 like at all, but I've heard great things about the series, so I'm still pushing through, hoping it will get better. What is it about? I don't know. Let me read it back to you. Liam is Formula One's golden boy, but he's nothing but a fraud, charming, devious, seductive, and someone who promises to fulfill all my naughty bucket list items. I force him behind to save Lions of the friend zone. Instead of accepting a friendship, he strikes a deal. 1 season, 1 list, 1 dirty secret. Sophie is my greatest fantasy brought to life and a major threat to my contract renewal. She's a part of the rival team and someone I should resist at all costs. Everyone is against our friendship. My boss, her dad, me, yet I'm captivated by her and the naughty list she created. Screw platonic, I want catastrophic. I honestly, now that I'm telling you, I don't remember that much about book 1. I remember like the main moments in that, but like side characters wise, I can't tell you. So I don't know if we've met these characters before or not. There is a playlist at the start of this, and that's Break Free by Ariana Grande, which I love. We have something else. I have Break My Heart by Dua Lipa, also a banger. Symphony by Clean Bandit featuring Zara Larson. Yellow by Coldplay. Fight Song Acoustic by Rachel Platten. And then like some other songs I don't really know that well, so I can give you commentary on it. But I feel like there's gonna be a vibe. Okay, so I'm 100 pages into Collided, which by the way, using Melon Asher bookmark from my Seriously bookmarks. Isn't that fun? But it's last fun as this book. I really don't like it. I'm having the same issues with it as I did with book 1, but I just feel like everything is so sexualized and it's not fun. Like every other word in this book is sex. And it's a bit too much. I really love vibing with it. And on top of that, actually a big part of the guy's like personal arc is his grief around his best friend who passed away like 2 years ago. And it's so jarring. When like the inner monologue goes from sex to I miss my dead friend. It is so jarring and it's never done well. And then on top of that, I also just think the dialogue, when it isn't just about sex, it is so stilted and natural and it doesn't read real. And then on top of that, it's not fully misogynistic, but there are definitely some things that have been said that have me going like, huh? Did I hear that correctly? In the year of 2025? I mean, that's not when this was written. When was it written, actually? 2020. That's still way too late to be this misogynistic. Let's be for real. So, yeah, I'm not having the greatest time with it. But to be fair, for some reason, I have hopes that this will get better. I don't know why. There was something in the air, and I just feel like because the premise is so sex heavy for this book, with Sophie having like a bucket list of like naughty stuff she wants to do that Liam is helping her with. It is very sex focused. The premise. I'm hoping that as the book continues, at least to get to know each other better, there might be some more depth to it that isn't just sex. But based on the first book in the series, I highly doubt that will be the case. So it's the next day. I washed my hair, that's why it's wet. And I finished Collided. I was honestly gonna update you before finishing this, but I felt like shit. So I didn't do that. But this surprisingly a little bit of 2-star, which doesn't sound that positive. But I genuinely, at a certain point in this book, thought I was gonna DNF it, and I didn't know how I could stand this book any longer. But there was just some element to it, and I couldn't explain it, that kept me reading. And then the second half, I liked so much more. It felt like it was written by a different author than Lyle Asher that I know from the 300 Billionaire series wrote the second half. I don't know who wrote the first half, but the second half was definitely way better. So yeah, I did still have my issues with it. I do think that besides sexual stuff, there wasn't a lot of development for the romance. Although I do have to say that I did think Lily was cute. And I couldn't help myself from going, "Aw," at the moment of them resolving their issues and getting officially together. I also do think that in the second half, kind of like their personal journeys, especially Liam's, became a bigger part of the story, and I really like that. And I also really like Sophie's, but like I said, her personal development is a bit smaller than Liam's, but I still really like those elements to it. It's just that it did get very misogynistic in the beginning, and there are some moments where consent-wise in the start, before they really like get together, there were some times where I'm like, this is on the border of harassment at this point. Like, technically there's nothing wrong, but it's so damn close, it's uncomfortable for moments. But and yeah, so I hated, I despised the first half. The second half I felt fine about, since I split it at a 2-star. I really didn't see this coming, and I read the second half so quickly as well. So there was that at least. And yeah, check. So it is the evening. I'm very excited to pick my next read. So the spinner wheel will be doing that for me. Honestly, send all the positive vibes, because for some reason I have a feeling this is gonna screw me over, because it went pretty well, up until this point. So can only go downhill, Alright, you send me the good vibes. I'll press spin, and then it can't go wrong. I can't. I wouldn't even think of the notion that it can go on as long as you're sending me good vibes, You're sending good vibes, right? I told you to send me good vibes. It was revealed by BC and Kirsten Cass, which is a book in the House of Light series. I don't know the number. I have to get book 1. I don't know where it is, but it's gonna take a while. BRB. Yeah, so if you don't know, House of Night is like an old school YA like paranormal series, originally published in 2007. That's ages ago. Oh my god, I was a 6-year-old in 2007. Fuck me, I haven't been a 6-year-old in a really long time. Anyway, it's a very popular series, and I love vampires. You know that about me. I also love YA. And I love kind of like this old school vibe. It doesn't always hold up really well, but it's a vibe. And I bought all of this entire series, and it's a really long ass series, secondhand, with the idea of I'm gonna read it one day. And then because it is such a long series, one day is never soon enough, So I haven't read this yet. I've owned it for 2 years. I don't know, I feel such a pressure behind it, not necessarily because this is such a beloved series, because I feel like most people have like come out of their love for this one over the years, but it's a long series. Like I said, I don't own the entire thing. So I feel like there is some pressure to this. It's 316 pages though, so not very long. I have no clue what this is about besides that it's vampires. Hi, so the last time I updated you was Monday, now it's Friday. I apologize, but I did finish Marked. I have been like very slowly shipping my way through this book over these couple of days that I didn't update you. This was a slog to get through, honestly, which was such a surprise. I don't know, I definitely expect this to be outdated and maybe like not that great, but I at least expected it to be a fun time. It wasn't. It was such a slog to get through, so slow, like almost nothing happened in this book. I should give you a synopsis for this. In this book, we follow Zoe, who, in this world where she lives, vampires also exist, and they don't get changed by being bitten like we typically know. They get marked by a particular type of vampire, and then you are supposed to go to the House of Night, which is a school. They have like different locations all over the world, but it's a school for vampires basically, where like the next 4 years you learn how to be a vampire, and either you at the end of the 4 years turn into a vampire, or somewhere along the line you die because your body cannot handle the changes. And that's basically the premise of this book, as Zoe, our main character, gets marked at the very start of this book and has to go to the House of Night. And I wasn't a big fan of this, so I give this 2 stars. Like I said, this was such a slog to get through. And the only thing I was expecting from this is to at least be a little bit more fun. But like almost nothing happened in this book. It took so long for things to get rolling. And even then, like the conflict in this book is so minor. On top of that, I think the characters are very one-dimensional. There was a romance in here, but that was also just so dull. And there was like no development to it. It was the definition of incel love, but not even good incel love, you know? And yeah, I do have to say that for a book written in 2000 and what was it? 2007, this was actually much more diverse than I expected, but not necessarily in a good way. Zoe's grandmother is Native American, so that does play a part in her storyline as well. And then one of the people in her friend group is gay, another one in her friend group is black. It is definitely dealt with in the way that a book with limited talents would deal with. Like there's so many things that technically aren't necessarily one. Like there are way more offensive things to say, but make me raise an eyebrow. Like the black character constantly gets described with like different, like her skin color gets described with different like coffee flavors, which it's not really the best way to describe black skin. Really, even in 2007, the only thing I could come up with was that she looks like a cappuccino. What does that even mean? And then the gay guys constantly talked about how he's not very girly, and there was mention of like other gay people at the school, but like or like her friend doesn't really hang out with those because they're weird and girly, and like that's no. And like it like settles over. The main character goes on like a whole rant about how she cannot understand how this guy's parents will not accept him because being gay doesn't change who you are. But then like also the sentence before that, one of the other characters called like the other gay people in school like weird and girly. How? And of course I can't talk about the native representation, but I also feel like that there are some questionable stuff in there as well, just because of the way all the rest is dealt with. And of course the misogyny rampant. The not like other girls ideology rampant, the slut shaming rampant. This is wild. So of course it's still a book within the 2000s and all of those things I did kind of expect. Like it's, I mean, maybe not like the casual racism and homophobia, because I wasn't expecting there to be people of color and gay people in my book, because you know that's just the way things were back then. So there you go. I do generally wonder how they're gonna turn this into a 12-book series, because like I said, nothing happened in this book, and I have no clue how they're gonna, like, what the main plot for the series is gonna be, because there was no plot for this. The only reason, by the way, why this wasn't a 1-star is that I do think the vampire lore is so interesting and so unlike anything I've ever read before, and I'm very excited to continue reading with that, to just learn more about the vampire lore. But that's kind of all I have to say about it. Anyway, I don't feel like I missed out on that one back in the day. But let me just quickly take my laptop and my spin wheel, and then I'm gonna search for marked in here, and then of course remove that from the wheel because we landed it on a different book in the series, so I can just click on hide choice because that would be too easy now, would it? Anyway, let's spin one more time. I don't think I have time for any more books to read because it is already Friday, because Mark took me so long to read. So let's just spin and hope that the odds are in my favor and it's not that big of a book either. Let me hit it. And let's hope for the best together. Do you have your finger crossed? You should have your fingers crossed. Can you read what it says? Medal Yarn Express by Agatha Christie, which is right here, by the way. It's not a book of my top of TBR list, and I'm not reading because I am doing an Agatha Christie reading vlog. I have said that in so many videos now already, but it's the year, it is happening, so I'm not, you know, that is an allowed video. Okay, so let's spin again, and fingers crossed. That worked, so doing it again. Oh, okay, let's obey. Okay. Oh god. I said I wanted something short. This is the opposite of short. Let me give. So, I wanted something short. That's not what we're getting. Although this doesn't look that bad, but that's because it has like really thin pages. But it's 573 pages long. This is Sword Catcher by Cassandra Clare, hair adult fantasy debut. I love the Shadowhunter world. I know it's not the best thing to in the world, but I love it so much. So I've been very excited to read this book, but I have not gotten around to it. And lately the sequel came out, and because of that, a lot of people, more new people on my feed, have been picking this up for the first time again, and everybody that I've seen pick it up loves it. I've been so desperate to read it. In fact, I was like starting to come up with like a new video idea that I could possibly fit this into to like force myself to read it, but now the spinner wheel is making me do it before I could even come up with something. So that's great, although I wanted a short book. This isn't the short book. But I do read Cassandra Clare typically fairly quickly, at least the Shadowhunter books I do, so I might also be able to read this very quickly. I'm so excited to read this book, I can tell you. So I don't know, I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna tell you about it once I'm a little bit out of it too. By the way, this is not a top of TBR book for me, so look at me making like 0 progress throughout the year, and then in one video reading 2 of them. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie to you, it's been like almost a month since I last talked to you. I started this vlog at the end of July, and it's almost the end of August, so the week has been over. But basically my original plan was, as you can tell by the title, was to read books from a spinner wheel for like a week. And then I was also really sick, so it was like perfect. You know, you saw the start of this video as well. And then at the end of the week I got better, so I kind of got stuck doing a lot of shit, and I completely forgot to update this vlog. In fact, I have even read some other books since I last talked to you. Whoops, I didn't read the book that the spinner wheel chose for me, and that's Sword Catcher. I did start it when I within the week that this video took place in, and I got 86 pages into this. I knew that I wasn't gonna get far, to be completely honest, and I didn't. I am really enjoying it so far, but I think I'm just gonna let this video be and obviously round it up, because we are far past the week that I was supposed to read this book in, and I'm just gonna try and read this before August is actually done, so you can see it in my August wrap up. But who knows if that's actually gonna happen, because it is quite a big book, and like I said, we are nearly at the end of the month already. But there you go. I am really glad I did this video too. I feel like it very much motivated me to read while I was sick, and I really wanted to read. I just I don't know, I wasn't finding anything I wanted to read. I solved that issue, to be completely honest. Like, I'm in this weird space where I constantly want to read. They give me a book and I'm like, I don't want to read that. So therefore, also, again, I don't know if this is actually going to happen by the end of the month, but I'm going to try my darn hardest. But this video definitely helped motivate me, and I got 3 books of my physical TBR that I had been, like, you know, that's not. So I got 3 books of my physical TBR that have been on there for quite some time, so it was good to get them off. And then including this and then collided were 2 books of my top of TBR list, and I have been making shit progress with that over this year, so that was a good thing to also like have. You know, I haven't checked this off yet, but like to have that done. And then Grote Mensen die Ketten toen ik klein was is a book that I've been wanting to read, but I've been very intimidated to read. And of course, I own the entire House of Night series, so I should probably have gotten this on that way sooner than now. So I feel like it was a good mix of books, and I'm very glad that I got to read them, because I wouldn't have under other circumstances, I know that. So yeah, I had fun doing this. I kind of want to do more spinner wheel videos. Like I have this wheel, I barely use it, but I love doing so. So I'm thinking of maybe doing like a monthly bit on my TikTok, which by the way is linked in the description in case you want to watch it. But I review every single book that I read on there, and I thought it would be fun to also just once a month do kind of like a book review, but then have the spinner wheel decide what I read instead of just me picking up books and then talking to you about me reading them. I think it would be fun, and therefore I can use the wheel more often. But I don't know, we'll see how that happens. But just like I said, TikTok is in the description, so you can go check it out if you want to. Then you also get a review of this book once I'm done with it, you know? So yeah, I hope you like this video, despite that it might probably be a mess. Like, I generally don't remember anything about what I filmed for this video, so I'm presuming it's a bit of a mess. But I hope you still have fun watching it. I had fun making it, and hopefully I'll see you around next time.
Here I am again, the same old situation. Why does the God thing have to be so complicated? Should've played it cool instead